Okay guys, so here I've got the GQ Patrol 2.8 turbo diesel. Had problems with it before, and I've had the head off, new head, and noticed the temperature gauge was climbing yesterday, and I stopped well and truly in time. But as you can see, I've got some bubbling coming up through the radiator here. I've led the system. It's definitely air coming in, compressed air coming into the cooling system through the combustion cylinders, through the combustion chambers. I've got some Chemi-Weld, which I've used before pretty successfully. So I'm just warming this motor up, as they say on the box here, on the bottle, to get it above normal operating temperature but not boiling. So I'm just quietly getting it there. I've got a clamp around the radiator hose here. I've also got the radiator blocked off with some cardboard down between the radiator and the air conditioning radiator, and just waiting for it to get hot enough so that I can actually empty a bottle of this stuff into it and see whether it lives up to its claim. I've repaired 2 or 3 different cars before. Matter of fact, this engine here had some of this in it in a bit of an emergency repair once many years ago. It probably was done in the less than ideal conditions on the side of the road without being able to really do very much other than pour a bottle into a half-empty radiator, which is not what they suggest. So it held up. I think I've probably done 80 or 90,000 K since then, but as we can see, something's gone amiss again here. So we're going to have another crack at it and see what happens. Okay, sit tight. I'll come back in a minute. Okay guys, just about to tip some Chemi-Weld in here. And we'll follow the manufacturer's instructions. Let it run for about 20 minutes and see whether the bubbling stops. Okay, it's all gone. Bike, and then they say just we drive it around for a while, drive it normally for probably a day or so, then drain the system and replace with coolant as long as the symptoms have ceased. Alright, so I've put the bottle of Chemi-Weld in there, and we'll see what happens. Alright, I'll just switch off for a minute, because this might take 15 or 20 minutes, and we'll just see what eventuates here. Alright, sit tight, be back with you in a minute. Well, it's only been a minute or two, and if we look closely, we can still see some very fine bubbles coming up, but not the big bubbles that were coming out before. So it would suggest that something is happening here. Definitely not the big bubbles that were coming up earlier. Okay, we'll just keep going and we'll just see what happens. Even these small bubbles seem to be diminishing a little bit even as we've been speaking, and literally the Chemi-Weld has been in for about 3 or 4 minutes. I'll keep an eye on it. We'll switch off and we'll come back in a minute. Okay guys, well it's been about half an hour of me running this, and I thought we were on a winner, and it actually has helped, but we've settled into a very fine frothy bubbles coming up. So there's still obviously a leak, but it certainly helped a bit. I reckon I'm going to try a second bottle. I think the capacity of this radiator is, this cooling system is fairly large, and they recommend for a 12 litre system. I reckon this might be about 18 litres. I'm not sure, but I'm now going to put the cap on. We're going to take it for a drive. We might try and get another bottle of Chemi-Weld while we're sort of in the mood, and just see, because there's only it must be very, very fine, because it's just very, very fine frothy bubbles, but it hasn't solved the problem totally. but I reckon it's worth another bottle at you know, $18 or $20 a bottle. I reckon it's worth another bottle to give it a crack. And if that doesn't help, then it's obviously we've got some other problems then, and we'll tackle that one if we get there. But I reckon I'll go for a run and get another bottle of stuff and see how we go there. Alright, I'll be back with any further results, but definitely it has helped, and may, if you're in an emergency, may save the day, even having done that much, may allow you to get home. So keep a bottle in your glove box. So anyway, I'll come back with some more news if we get some further results. Thanks guys, see you later. Well, here we are again guys. So what's happened here since I emptied the bottle of Chemi-Weld in, we were getting some very fine bubbling after being running for a while, and it was obviously not 100% fixed. So I decided to go for a drive and pick up another bottle. I carry some water on board. I'd travelled about 25-30 kilometres and watching the temperature gauge, and it was fairly obvious that there was some water loss because the temperature gauge gradually climbed. But as it climbed, obviously the engine got warm, and I wasn't actually able to warm this motor up very well when I was performing the procedure with the Chemi-Weld. I had the radiator blocked, and I had the hose clamped, the radiator hose clamped off, so it was restricting the flow, but I still wasn't able to get the radiator, water temperature up to a high temperature level. However, the run up the road caused the motor to warm up. I stopped and refilled the radiator from the water I was carrying, and it had lost quite a significant amount. I picked up another bottle of Chemi-Weld. However, I haven't opened it. I topped up the water, turned around and drove home, noticed that the temperature gauge was stable. So I've just got home, and here's the results. As you can see, there's absolutely no bubbling, nothing at all, and I still have a spare bottle of Chemi-Weld, which I haven't used, which will go back into the glove box. But I'm assuming that the increased temperature while the motor was running with low water level, and I didn't let it get too hot, I was watching the gauge like a hawk, but it did get up to the high temperature mark before the warning light. I'm assuming that extra heat did something and set off the chemicals inside the compound, inside the Chemi-Weld, which obviously filled the cracks or the leaks in the head gasket or the head, or wherever the porosity in the head, or whatever the problem was. But the end of the story is that it solved the problem. Definitely at the moment, 100%, there's not a single air bubble coming up, as you can see. So at this stage, I'm calling it a win. I'll keep a very close eye on the situation and keep a cup bottle in the glove box, as I say. I'm going to invest in a low coolant alarm and possibly a separate engine temperature alarm as well, just in case something happens and I'm not watching the gauge, and I don't want to cook this motor again. I did it once before and it was a costly exercise to repair. So there we go, just thought I'd follow this through. Obviously this product works. As I said earlier, this is the 4th time I've used this product, and it's worked every time. It was in this vehicle probably 80 or 90,000 k's ago in a fairly rough and ready roadside repair, which did fix the problem 100%, but something has reoccurred in these later times, possibly the issue reoccurring or a new leak or something, I'm not sure. But anyway, here we go, we're off and running. Looks like the problem's fixed. Good on the Chemi-Weld. I'll keep a bottle of this in my glove box at all times from now on. Can't recommend the product more highly than that. Thanks guys, have a good one.